#* command. Tier 1s, this is an alert from #* command. We are approaching a time of difficulty because of the planetary adjustment that will take place with the process of disclosure. The Earth has entered a most dense area of the ring of light that is called a photon belt, and the entire solar system is being buffeted by electromagnetic waves. These waves are instrumental to the Great Awakening, as the photonic light and gamma rays of these electromagnetic surges are stripping the psyche of mankind of negative elements in much the same way as the circles and swords of blue flame of Archangel Michael, as well as of the Elohim Hercules and Astrea. We are referring to intrinsic characters in the persona that have been created by the self in the process of using the light of God, but which represents an effluence or contamination. At every moment the self makes a choice to use this power in the right way or not. You either qualify the light as you use it, or misqualify it, as you live your lives. Due to the descent into the third dimension of duality, billions of souls have created an ego that has a life of its own and occupies the psyche, the subconscious and conscious minds of the person in incarnation. Their intrinsic values and qualities have been perverted. You know of the tool you can use to obtain a purification of your psyche. We are referring to the call to Archangel Michael, or the Elohim, to strip you of elements, such as doubts and fears, and also of all the perversions of the qualities of the Divine Mother Father. You know of the purification of the aura and chakras that are instruments or chalices for the reception of divine light as well. You can recreate yourselves in the image of the Christ consciousness that is your blueprint and that is descending. This is a basic understanding to have to appreciate the changes taking place due to the presence of the solar system and the Earth in the ring of photonic light, which is about 10 times larger in size than the galaxy of the Milky Way in which you exist. However, it extends over and below the galaxy as a vertical loop, so the edges of the galaxy are not continuously in this photonic ring. As the galaxy moves in space, the extremities of its edges remain outside of this ring for thousands of years and then cross it again. This is indeed #* command. This transmission is from a unit of communication. With regard to how large this photon belt is, it is 10 times larger than the solar system. It is a body of light that transcends the human nature. As stated before, it contains electromagnetic energies, and its gamma rays are irradiating all of Earth at the moment. Its particles have a stripping effect upon the accumulated substances that constitute a densification of the light in the human body, and even in the planetary body. This has occurred by the wrong use of the light of God over many decades and thousands of years. The light substances strip the psyche from its negative elements and therefore convert the ego, or transcend it. The process frees the psyche of mankind from all perversions and darkness, and the terminology that we have in place controls its effects by diffusing the particles and ensuring the absorption of light is progressive and positive. Too much at any time could have a destructive effect. This process is causing the awakening and raising you to higher levels of vibration, of spirituality, of love, and it is enlarging your capacity for understanding. You are able to download in your mind light codes which you translate into information and knowledge. You have been born in bodies with a DNA that has been handed down by your parents and ancestors. Going back many thousands of years in history, the Anunnaki did perform some modifications to mankind's DNA to keep mankind ignorant of its identity and its function. In other words, ignorant of all of the meanings of life. For instance, the purpose of the material world and of physicality. The innate abilities of physical angels, those abilities that were possessed originally or before the planetary takeover about 400,000 years ago, after the Galactic Federation regained control of the solar system about 1,000,000 years ago. This was after the destruction of the planet Moldic and an era of decadence in the solar system due to the presence of the reptilian forces of darkness. The creation of Moldic some millions of years before that was for a project of physicality which will now be completed in a golden age after the Earth, or Gaia, has been risen to a higher level of frequency vibration. This is dependent upon the vibrational level of its inhabitants, of their perception of reality, which in turn affects their own reality and density. This messenger is not trained in science, and we are using the terms that she is familiar with. We will not explore the technical aspect of resonance and hertz deeply, but will give you some details about this subject. The resonance that is occurring in respect of mankind corresponds to the level of consciousness, or refinement, in terms of civilization. Or you could call it a level of righteousness or spirituality. It is to do with the psyche, the soul, or self, and it will be able to move upon the etheric realm out of the body when the individual goes to sleep if its resonance is high. After death, the self is not always freed from the wheel of reincarnation because it has not been freed from its negative traits. Light is always necessary to balance karma. Many souls have been able to ascend after death, for they are righteous, and accomplishing this out of the body is an easier task. The ascension could take place after re-education in the schools of the etheric realms, even decades after the passing over. At this time, many souls who have ascended have returned into embodiment to take part in the ascension of Earth in its physicality and density. This is the great project of the age. The plan to raise the Earth as well as the entire solar system, and beyond, is being implemented as the manifestation of the divine will of Almighty God and has been in the works since time immemorial. A prophecy, such as the one Archangel Michael made known to the galaxy more than 25 million years ago, was a statement of his knowledge of the will of God, which he brought down to the levels of physicality for its manifestation. It was revealed to both the forces of the light and of darkness. He didn't reveal which planetary system and which planet would play a key role in the unfoldment of events in the last days, before all life would be lifted up to a higher octave, or dimension, in a golden age. Then physicality would be used as originally intended. By seeking to interfere with this plan, the forces of darkness were affected by the vision that they held without realizing it. Earth was to play a key role in the manifestation of the divine will, and we are close to the goal because the planetary body is being swept by a flux of energy that has impacted the solar system on March 20, 2016. Today, on March 22, this stream of light has gone round the world for the second time. The energies enter through the Sun and are diffused through cosmic channels through the planet Venus, through the Lord Sanat Kumara and the logos of Earth, as well as the other usual channels of consciousness. Technology is aiding to soften and distribute their impact. All of the material world is being irradiated at the moment, and the light is helping the elemental kingdom as well. The prayers and calls that the light workers make help the absorption of light. It is beneficial to raise the consciousness, spirituality and resonance at which forms vibrate. The calls permit the angelic kingdom to intervene where necessary. The technology of the blue avians, who are higher dimensional, as well as technologically advanced beings, is helping to filter the highly charged electromagnetic particles and gamma rays of the photon belt. An example is the biospheres now observed near the Sun or in the sky, where there were none decades ago. The peak of energies encountered on March 20 have been called a wave, but in the sense that a group of souls ready to take in this light have had their resonance affected by it and have been elevated to a higher level upon the ladder of the dimensions or consciousness. The souls which were able to take part in the same process with the influence of the peak of energies on September 28 of last year, because they were ready for it, are being taken even higher with this second surge of electromagnetic light substance. They are at the top of the pyramid of the light workers, which symbolically represents the body of God on earth. They are the woman in heaven who gives birth to Christ consciousness, the man-child of the book of Revelation, and at the same time those souls are the bride of Christ, a collective. They are being wedded in that garment of bright light, or that golden and solar garment, and they walk upon the rainbow bridge of the rays of God, and become that path. Their system of chakras is being worked on,